In 1904, a missionary's wife set up a camera on the porch of a mission station in the Congo and photographed a man named Nsala. He is sitting very still. He is looking at something on the porch in front of him. It is the severed hand and foot of his 5-year-old daughter. The man responsible was 4,000 miles away, in a palace in Brussels. He owned the land Nsala stood on. He owned the rubber vines Nsala was forced to harvest. Under the law, he owned the country itself, not as a king, but as a private citizen. One man, holding personal title to a territory 76 times the size of his own kingdom. He would profit from it for 23 years, kill millions doing it, and never once set foot there. This is how he got away with it, and the story of the shipping clerk who brought him down. Leopold II became King of the Belgians in 1865, and he inherited a problem. Belgium was small. He had spent his youth touring the empires of other men, British India, the Dutch East Indies, and returned home convinced that a nation without colonies was a nation without a future. Belgium's parliament disagreed. They wanted no part of imperial adventures. So Leopold decided he would acquire a colony the way another man might acquire a painting, privately. In the 1870s, the interior of Central Africa was one of the last blank spaces on the European map, and Leopold understood something his rivals did not, that in the age of abolition, the fastest way to seize African land was to wrap the seizure in charity. In 1876, he founded what he called the International African Association, a humanitarian body, he announced, dedicated to ending the Arab slave trade and bringing science and civilization to the Congo Basin. He hosted conferences, he funded expeditions, he cultivated a reputation as Europe's philanthropist king. His agent on the ground was Henry Morton Stanley, the explorer famous for finding Livingstone. Between 1879 and 1884, Stanley traveled the Congo River signing treaties with local chiefs, over 400 of them. The chiefs, signing documents in a language they could not read, were ceding their land and their labor to Leopold's association. Many believed they were signing friendship agreements. Then came Berlin. In 1884 and 1885, the European powers met to divide Africa among themselves. Not one African was present, and when the conference ended, the great powers had recognized Leopold's personal claim to the entire Congo Basin, nearly 1 million square miles. Britain and France accepted it precisely because it belonged to a king they considered harmless, a philanthropist, a neutral. He named it the Congo Free State. It would become one of the most precisely misnamed places in human history. For the first few years, Leopold's colony lost money. Ivory was the only export, and ivory was not enough. Then, in 1888, a Scottish veterinarian named John Dunlop invented the pneumatic tire, and the world discovered it needed rubber, enormous quantities of it, and wild rubber vines grew throughout the Congo rainforest. Leopold's administration did not build plantations. Plantations take years. Instead, it built a system for extracting rubber from the forest, using the only resource it considered free, the people who lived there. The instrument was called the Force Publique, a private army of some 19,000 men, African conscripts commanded by European officers. Its purpose was not defense, it was collection. The system worked like this. Each village was assigned a rubber quota. To meet it, men had to walk deep into the forest, tap wild vines, and coat their own bodies in raw rubber to carry it back, peeling it off their skin, along with the skin. As nearby vines were exhausted, the journeys grew longer. Quotas did not shrink. A village that met its quota saw the quota raised. And a village that failed had hostages taken, usually the women, held in stockades until the men returned with rubber. Failure past that point was punished by burning the village, or worse. Which brings us to the hands. Force publique officers did not trust their conscripts with ammunition. Cartridges were counted, and each one spent had to be accounted for, proven to have been used on a person, not wasted hunting game. The proof demanded was a human hand, severed and smoked to preserve it for the journey back to the post. The logic of that accounting system is worth sitting with. Soldiers who missed, or who used a bullet to hunt food, still owed a hand, so hands were taken from the living. Baskets of them were presented to officers the way a clerk presents a ledger. The severed hand became the currency of the quota, and the most documented atrocity symbol of the age. Insala's daughter, from the photograph that opened this story, was one entry in that ledger. Her village had missed its rubber quota. None of this was hidden from the administration. It was the administration. The profits, and they were now immense, flowed to Brussels, where Leopold spent them on palaces, monuments, and public works that earned him a nickname at home, the Builder King. The man who unraveled it all was not a journalist, a politician, or a spy. He was a shipping clerk. Edmund Dean Morel worked for a Liverpool shipping line that held the cargo contract between Belgium and the Congo. Part of his job was auditing the manifests at the docks in Antwerp, and around 1897, Morel noticed a discrepancy that no one else had bothered to read. Ships arriving from the Congo were full. Rubber and ivory, fortunes of it. Ships departing for the Congo carried almost nothing of commercial value. No trade goods, no payment. What they carried was weaponry, ammunition, and chains. Morel was looking at trade statistics, and he drew the only conclusion the numbers allowed. Nothing was being exchanged for the rubber. If nothing was going in, the labor producing it wasn't being paid. It was being forced. From a desk in a shipping office, without ever seeing the Congo, he had deduced the existence of a slave state from accounting. His employer offered him promotion, then money to let it go. He resigned instead. And then Edmund Morel did the most dangerous thing a man could do to Leopold. He became a publisher. The campaign he built, the Congo Reform Association, is now regarded as the first mass human rights movement of the modern era, and its weapon was evidence. In 1903, the British government sent its consul Roger Casement up the Congo River to investigate. His report, published the following year, was a catalogue of mutilation, hostage-taking, and depopulation, recorded village by village in the dry language of a civil servant. Missionaries armed with cameras, including Alice Seeley Harris, who took the photograph of Insala, supplied what no report could: proof you could hold in your hand. Her lantern slides toured Britain and America. Audiences who could dismiss testimony could not dismiss photographs. Mark Twain joined the campaign and wrote a pamphlet, Savaging the King. Arthur Conan Doyle wrote a book calling the Congo the greatest crime ever committed. Leopold's philanthropic mask, the mask that had won him the colony at Berlin, was coming apart in public. Leopold fought back the only way he knew. He bought things. He bought journalists. He funded press bureaus in Europe and America to plant favorable coverage and smear Morel. He convened his own commission of inquiry in 1904, expecting acquittal. And instead, his hand-picked commissioners came back so disturbed by what they found that their report confirmed the atrocities. One official who testified took his own life. By 1908, the pressure was unbearable, from Britain, from America, from the Belgian public itself. Leopold agreed to give up his colony, but even the surrender was a transaction. He did not return the Congo. He sold it to Belgium, his own country, which paid him tens of millions of francs, assumed the colony's debts, and rewarded him for, in the official phrasing, his great sacrifices for the Congo. And before the handover, Leopold ordered the entire archive of the Congo Free State burned. The furnaces in Brussels ran for days. The state that had demanded a severed hand as a receipt for every bullet destroyed its own receipts. He died the following year, in 1909, one of the richest men in Europe. At his funeral, the crowd lining the procession route did something almost unheard of at the death of a king. They booed. How many people died in the Congo Free State is a question that cannot be answered honestly with a single number, in part because the evidence went into Leopold's furnaces. Serious estimates range from the low millions to 10 million or more. A Belgian government commission in 1919 concluded the population may have been cut in half. What is not in dispute is the mechanism: quota, hostage, bullet, hand. Repeated across a territory the size of Western Europe for 2 decades at a profit. No one was ever convicted. Leopold was never tried. The Force Publique's officers retired on pensions. Belgium kept the colony for another half-century, and kept, for decades, the story of the Builder King. The country he never visited still lives with what he built there. The photographs Alice Harris took are the reason we know, and the trade manifests that Clerk in Liverpool refused to ignore are the reason anyone looked. The record survives because someone kept it. That is the only sentence Leopold ever received. If you enjoyed it, leave a like.